Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream for ustream.tv and also recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm working in probably part 4 of the Colin Thompson Fantastic book, and I'm zoomed in to these little tiny worlds in these shelves where there's lots of things going on. So I've coloured the fern. I'm working with damp brushes and 3 fine riggers, a number 3, a number 1 and a number 30, and also my Derwent watercolour pencils because I love my little book, and you have a lot of control of colour when you use them on paper palettes. So my damp brush is picking colour up, and then I just stroke the colour as I go along, and this ensures that you do not dampen your brush, your page at all, so you do end up with some lovely watercolour effects, and you also end up with a very flat page. There are no buckling of pages when you work like this. And it's a very therapeutic, quiet, easy way, and all the stress is in the bendy brush. So this is damp and there's a little bit of colour on the end, and that ensures a nice flow of colour. And I've just realised that I've had my hands in in water. Just give me 2 seconds. See if I can find my I just have to put the tiniest amount of hand cream on because I'd forgotten. I love this hand cream. It looks like a tube of paint. Isn't that amazing? I love it. And it smells of cranberries. And just have to put a little bit of hand cream on. And that also actually helps me just grasp the brush that little bit better. If my hands are very dry, the brush kind of drops out of my hand. So I'm just teasing colour out of here. Hi Dorothy, welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm playing in the Colin Thompson Fantastic book. Teasing out some colours. But I do like using the Derwent watercolour Derwent watercolour pencils in this book. The colours are vibrant. I can get some nice watercolour effects, and I'm not touching the wet brush is not too wet to make the pages buckle. So this is a very, very flat book, and I do like to keep the books as flat as possible. So again, I've got a little bit of a variation there. I haven't done that one. Just a little bit more colour. And I need to put these pencils back into my little book again. They don't last forever, and I have used them quite a lot. I can't work out what that is behind there, so again, if I'm confused, I leave it. I think it's a petal. I think that's a petal, so I can do that. But sometimes there's a lot going on in these little worlds, and I always find it's better to leave something and go back to it. But I'm pretty sure that oops, we have a big storm outside. Well, I say a big storm. For England, we're having a storm. So the rain is beating the window. Don't have many big storms, but And there's a little man, I don't know what he's doing. Is he holding a petal up? I call them little men. He's a little creature. He's got hands and feet and eyes and a nose. So I would call that's a leaf. So I'm just very carefully stroking these colours in. And I'm not really doing the watercolour effect on this particular flower. I think the sunflowers are kind of vibrant anyway. And then we have another one down here. My arthritis is always bad with the rain. So I don't like rain. I tell a lie, I like rain. I don't like the damp November kind of drizzle rain we have. I used to love walking down the garden in the rain, along the field. That was quite good. And very refreshing for the brain as well, walking barefoot. So, there we have another sunflower. So these were going a little bit quicker. I don't like the yellow middle, so I'm going to go for this Naples yellow, but it's a Derwent watercolour pencil number 7. So you have a lot more control. Oh, that's a bucket, so it's a bucket. We have a Mrs. Bucket. I like that centre a little bit better, so I'm going to go over this one, I think. And in fact, if I do the other one, that little man is going to pop out now. Because we'll be able to see this little man here. And I'm just going to give this a bit of a deeper colour. And this is just such a nice, relaxing way to work. And I don't have any mess. There's just a small amount of water and my big palette, and that makes it just nice. So welcome to anybody that I've missed. This is a live stream for Ustream.tv, which is also recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. And I'm in the Colin Thompson Fantastic book, and that's the back of a sunflower. So that's going to have that gorgeous lime green kind of backing, isn't it? I think, or vivid green I should say, maybe not lime green. Now I've used a lot of that cadmium yellow, and you can tell because it now needs to be re-scribbled over, so I might just do that in a moment so you can see how to revamp your little book of watercolours when it's run out. I'm not sure what's behind there. That's a, oh yes I do, that's the petal. Yes I do. I'm not quite sure why he's holding the petal up, but there you go, there's a petal. So these are petals then, but I don't know what that is. But that's a petal. I might just make that into a leaf. So we've got some more under here. So if anybody had any questions, pop them in caps. So that's a stem, so that's got to be, it could be a leaf I suppose, that couldn't it? That's, so I haven't got many highlights on this bit, but I think that's a leaf, so that could possibly be a leaf. No, it's not. I made it into, I think, so now, and that's a baby one, so that would be green there, but that would be yellow. So that bit there would be yellow. So we need a nice green. And again, you don't have to mix, you just have to flick to the colour you want. What did I say? I said a pale colour, didn't I? I thought they were pale, but then I've seen juniper green. I think I like juniper green. So again, if I'm not sure, I normally have a piece of I just can't remember the back. I think it's quite a dark green actually. I don't think it is a pale one. I think it's a dark one. And that's too much like that one. Have a look at this one. So you can play about with the colour to decide which you want. I think I could go with that one. It's just a more traditional one, but I'm going to go with that one. So I'm going to go with mineral green. And if I start dark here, it should get paler and paler. So I'll start with the middle sized and I'll get some green. And you can still tell straight away that's a bit damp. So if you nip the brush, if you just nip, because it's a rigger, you can nip it. If you do it twice, you've taken off quite a lot of water, but it's damp. And what that allows you to do is to get a natural highlight, but what you're not doing is taking away any colour, but you're taking away the dampness, and that's what's ruins your page. And then if you want a really dark one, you can go in there and get some really nice green in there. And again, I'm just stroking the colour in a corner here, just picking up a little bit of colour and then just stroking that in. And that's so therapeutic, it's so good. You're not jiggling about with pots and pans and mixing colours, and I love mixing colours, but this way is so nice. You're almost in your own little world. And if I just go across there, I've just got the faintest amount of green just on top of there. Yes, I was going to do another, when I'm trying to fill this little book for Carol, who won the, and I'm conscious of the fact it's not done, I've got to scribble the squares, but it takes it out of my hand scribbling, which is why I don't use all my pencils for colouring in, because I can't scribble. And to get a good coating, you need some good squares, but I could possibly do one, but it just ruins my hands for the rest of the day. There is one of my early videos, which are not particularly brilliant, but one of my first early videos is called Revamping, and I think I do it with the Inktense, but the principle's the same. And that's why I label them, because I can go to my box of pencils, find mineral green 45 and just scribble over there. So it's a 10-minute job if you use some more than others. And now that's gone to there, it's not as nice a colour as I thought it was, but I can live with that. So again, if you just tease down, you've got the smallest amount of a highlight there. So again, you start here. Start at the bottom and tease up. I mean, these are quite pale, these. I haven't done these particularly. particularly dark. And then that third one can be quite pale in that one. So you get a little bit of, oops, a little bit of definition in there, just a little bit. Well, I'm hoping Derwent are going to come out with this little book, because they can get about 300 to 400 colours, and I'm sure with the art bars they can make more colours, so they could come out with a book with 500 colours in it. And this actually belongs, this idea belongs to Derwent. It was on a video in the 80s, so it actually belongs to Derwent. So although I put in Gansai Tambi watercolours, they've just brought out something very similar. It belongs to Derwent, and I'd love to give it back to them, because I'd like to put Derwent back on the map, because these Derwent pencils are amazing. They are really, really lovely. So Derwent, although they've probably forgotten about it, bearing in mind how long ago it was, there aren't many people that work there now that will be that age, and so things get forgotten. So there is a video that shows you how to use the pencils, and when I get round to it I will show. I want that, but I wanted permission to copy what they do on the video, because but everybody else copies everything these days. But it is Derwent's. It belongs to Derwent. Oopsie. That's a yellow petal, I think. That's a yellow petal. And I'll just go around and see if I've missed any more. And we can give some of these a little bit more definition than they've got now. That could be a little bit deeper, that one. And you can go back in and play if you want. You can do all sorts. Can't work out what that is. Oh, I think that's the stem, and in the stem there's a house. So we want that gold in there, because that's what I've been using. Whoopsie, that's what I've been using. Well, I've got 600 in here. Well, sorry, I've got 500 and some, because the others didn't work as well. There's a lot of pastels in here, but there's 100. You could get 100 Karen Dashner colour 2s, but the ink 10s, and then there's nothing for you. There's no reason why you can't mix two colours together as you're scribbling, and then you could get hundreds of paper palettes. But Derwent could bring this out with 300 colours, and it would be that thick. That's got graphitint. I'm going to put the art bars in there, so you could get in a couple of inches. And if they brought out a book like this with Derwent written on it, I thought that would be wonderful. Especially with the art bars, they can make at least 200 colours out of the art bars. There's 72 ink 10s, and there's 72 Derwent ordinary pencils, and there's 24 graphitint. And I wanted to go see them last week, but I've been trying to get an email address to email somebody to say to them, this is a good idea. I mean, Gansai Tambi Watercolour have just pinched my idea. They've just brought out their little travel one. Little puddles of colour in a little, on a palette. But it belongs to Derwent. It's Derwent's idea. Not sure how I could show that. Oh, I've got the laptop that I dropped. So if I'm in the other room, I could show a bit of that video, couldn't I? That would be an idea. I could show it in bits. and then because what this guy does, Colin, I won't say Colin Thompson, but it isn't. Bear with me 2 seconds and I will tell you who it is. Because I took it out of the video so that I could use it as it's about something. I just had to find it. It should be here somewhere. It's not far away because I use it as a reference for the camera, so the camera will behave itself. It should be on this side somewhere. I always end up with lots of things everywhere. Can't find it now, I want it. He's on, I do show it in a lot of other videos, a lot of my videos. I can't just see it offhand because I don't have my glasses on. But there's a lot of my videos when I talk about my book, I do talk about the gentleman who was a Rexel pencil watercolorist. He's a wildlife artist. I think he lives in America now. Completely disappeared. It's supposed to be for travel, but because I watercolor on a little plastic on a tray, I can have this, and I can have a little cap of a tablespoon of water, and you can watercolor till your heart's content. But you do need a rigger for that. You need the long riggers, but that's what you could do. I mean, my pencils come out about 3 times a year. The last time was 2 years ago when I made this book. Not 2 years ago. When did I make this book? I think I've had this book about 3 or 4 years now. It's got the peerless in it. But this, Colin Dexter. I think it could be Colin Dexter, but on one of my other videos. I'm so cross I can't find it. So any pencil, and it's also got the sketching pencils as well. Derwent sketching pencils. They have a lot of pencils that, I mean, I've got Prismalo, anything that's got the water brush, anything that's got a water brush mark on it. Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s, well, there's 100 of those. Some metallic Caran d'Ache, they're in there. Faber-Castells, little colour sticks, they're in there. I've just bought some art bars. This was an experiment. I've got about 50 or 60 pastel pencils and pastels, and they're the Inktense blocks. Well, they're a bit chalky, so they didn't work. So I've got a lot in here that didn't work. And then I've got my couple of millimetres of my professional watercolours from the pans. So actually, there's hundreds of colours here just on their own. But I want Derwent to bring this out. There's the 36 Gansai Tambi watercolours, because of course you can't take that big box with you. And there's 20 odd of the Hydrus in here as well. But I love my little book. But I'd like Derwent to bring it out because I think it would put them back on the map. But I couldn't be bothered to get my pencil out, paint with it and put it back again. I take this to the hospital, I take it to the doctors, I take it everywhere. And because it's very quick to dry, you can shut your book almost immediately when they call your name. So here we have a turnip, I think. Is it a turnip? So they have like a bit of a purpley top. They're white with a little bit of purple, so if we just take that to there, that was just enough. But they do have vivid green tops, I'm pretty sure. And so I'm going to go with, we'll have sap green on that one. And just tease that colour up and then, oops, spread it round. So if anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps. Do tend to end up going in my own little world in here. See, that was just that little bit too wet, you could see that. Sorry about my chair, when I move, it groans and creaks. And just pick the colours out. And sometimes I do a watercolour effect, and sometimes I just kind of colour them in a little bit. What else have we got? We've got that little man, and we said what I do with him is number 16 of the Derwent pencils. These are the Derwent watercolour pencils. Is a flesh pink. So I've been colouring all these little men in flesh pink. So it just takes that white starkness away. And I've just found a little man here. Although it looks like he's more of a... He's got... But there's so many little men hanging about. So we have a watering... we have a... I think that looks like some kind of a shrub. So what are we going to have the bucket? The bucket's got a door in it, so we need that bright yellow. And I'm using number 3 gold, because obviously that's somebody's house now, in our imaginary world. And since I have a little bit of yellow on there, I'm just going to go to the castle and just touch that there. And oh, I found a parrot. There's a pulley. And there's another kind of pinky rose there. It's a poppy actually, isn't it? That's a poppy. So now I want to find some little houses. I can't find any now. Oh, there's a tiny window there. Look, see that tiny little window there? So I'm just going to put that gold yellow on there, and that just makes it one of those little warm rooms. So I haven't wasted much. And again, the beauty of it is your water's clear. All the colour goes on your page. I think I'm going to make that red. I'm just going to move the tea before it spills. So I think I'm going to give him a little red hood. What colour did I do the other little man? There's so many things going on here. Look, I mean, there's a bee. There's a bee there, and there's a little bird. Here there's some bunnies. Oops, there's some bunnies. There's just so much going on in this little book. It's fab. Oh, I found another little man, but I think I've coloured him in. He's sitting... I'm not sure what he's doing. He's sitting down doing something. It's a little blue butterfly. It's a little house. So much going on in this little world. There's another plant pot there. We've got a tree house, and then we've got a wooden cart with some gnomes. So I think we'll have the gnomes flesh pink. So we'll do all their little faces flesh pink, and their hands, and their tummies if they happen to be sticking out. And that just gets rid of that stark white. So this is number 16 flesh pink. And his little pink hands, well, I say pink, it's very, very, very pale, is that? But you can just tell it takes that stark white off, and that's what I want. So we need a nice brown, and we have quite a few of those in here, but I need the bigger brush for this. Hi Muesli, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else that I've missed this morning? Hope you're all well. We have some miserable weather here. Definitely miserable weather. And I'm just playing with these little guys here in this little wooden so I'm looking for a nice brown to do this. So pine would be good. There's a raw sienna number 58, and I quite like that for the wood that I've been using in here. So this is quite a damp brush, but I'm just going to stroke colour. I think that must be there. And by the time I've been right round this wheel, that colour's going to be very pale. So I'm going to have a natural highlight round there. Yes, definitely. Miserable weather is definitely arty weather. I didn't move from my desk yesterday. I think I got here about 10 or 11, and I moved when my husband came home at 10. Or 9:30, I think he was a bit early, he was supposed to be back about 10. And I'd been sitting at the desk playing about with my books and making my little junk sketchbook. So again, I've managed to get a little bit of a highlight on the inside. And now, if I take this colour again, so I've got quite a big brush there, it's quite damp. Just take a bit off there. But there's some colour right on the end. See the colour? So if you stroke that up here, it will get paler and paler. And so you get a natural highlight. It's just a bit too damp. But I did a whole page, I did a whole photocopy page of this particular book before I started on the book, and so that gave me a good indication of how well and how much water and how much paint I needed. And that's what I would do with everybody's. Now that looks like it's an ordinary tomato, so we need to go to the reds, and there's some gorgeous reds. I would think that a deep vermilion is a tomato colour. Let's have a look. Just going to have to play a minute to see. I need a ready one rather than a... No, I think this is going to be... Yeah, I think that's going to be a tomato colour. So if we start at the bottom, now this is going to be a bit wet. because I do want a nice highlight effect. So I've got the red and I'm just going to tease that up. It was a bit too wet. It didn't work. So I've got to let that dry now. And that will give me, hopefully, a natural highlight on there. Yes, I thought Dee Dee would be before 2. Yeah. So Dee Dee's on. If anybody wants to go across, just got to finish my my video. Yeah, I know the timing's wrong for some reason. It must be 8:30. Yes, Muesli, they did have to do. Yeah, yeah. Well, he said he'd be home at 10, so I thought, oh, that's good. And I hadn't realised because my daughter had friends over, so she didn't need my attention. So nobody needed my attention apart from Alfie, and he was actually quite good. But he did kind of bark a fair amount when the girls came in and out, so that kind of spoilt it a bit because he was doing his usual barking. So Dee Dee's on at the moment. If everybody wants to pop over there, I'm just going to continue finishing my page because somebody asked me for this video, so I need to finish it off. So I've got most of that's pale. I might do I think I'm going to do a red bucket, I think. Have a look. I know you normally have green buckets, but I kind of like... What about a blue bucket? Yeah, I think we might have a blue bucket. Decisions. I've got orange there. I think I'm going to do a blue bucket. I usually have blue buckets because I've got that other green to do as well. I think I'm going to put this number 48 May green. I think I'm going to put that over there. And I've just seen, now that was a little bit too wet for me, so I'm going to go back to a smaller brush. You don't need too much of a brush. So I just need some more of that yellow because I've just found a petal that I've missed under there. So we just need some cad yellow. And I've got some yellow on the handle of that bucket, so I'm not happy with that. I'm going to give that a red handle, I think. And again, that was a bit too wet for my liking, but I've done it now, so it's there. And that will just give me a bit of a red bucket colour. So that's number 15. So if we start at the bottom and work up, we should have a bit of a natural highlight. So I've got a bit of a red bucket there. And if I really don't like it, I can change it. But it's a make-believe world, so I can make believe. And I've just caught that, so I'm just going to try and smush that out. Oh, I've got a smush. I wanted a smush. Does that look like the thimble? Where was the thimble? Can't think. Where was the thimble? Was that the thimble, did you think? Possibly. I make so many mistakes on this one. I've made so many mistakes. I mean, when you look at this, this is a point, this is a number 1 rigger. But if you look at those ladybirds there, they are so tiny. They are so tiny. And that's not the smallest ones. There's some really diddy ones under here that I haven't even got to. I think that's a bear. I can't even think what's around there. They look like primroses. In fact, actually I could do those now. I need a little primrose colour. I think I'm going to do rose madder. I'm going to take quite a bit of dampness off here now because I need to get to these little tiny flowers. But I thought there were strawberries at first. I'm not sure what they are now. Okay, I've just found a little house there. There's a little window. So I'm just going to touch this colour into these little flowers. I think they're just buds, aren't they? If there were strawberries, there'd be little white flowers, wouldn't they? So I've made a mess of that, but never mind. It's a make-believe world. You've just got a touch of pink in them. Some leaves that I've missed there. Some pencils here that I've coloured in. There's another vase there, so we could have a vase colour. A bit of a chrome orange going on here. That was just a little bit too wet. Sometimes the baby wipe gets wet and you can't kind of you've got to dry it off because it's too wet. I mean, this paper's okay, but again, I like the fact that I'm working quite... Yes, I love rose madder. And rose madder on the pencils is quite nice as well. So going back to this little space here, I can't really tell what's behind there. I think it's a leaf. But I'll have a look a bit closer. All these wooden steps are going to be all brown. I'm going to use my burnt umber professional watercolour. There's a little tiny hole in it because that's where I put the brush to twizzle. And that's what I've been using. So I know all these wooden shelves or partitions are all going to be unified. So we found a little bird here, so he could be brown. But I'm using, apart from that, I'm using all Derwent watercolour pencils. In fact, we were doing the garden gnomes as well, weren't we? So I think I could possibly give a garden gnome a bit of a bluey purple kind of outfit. I think that might be a beard. No, it's not a beard. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So he would like a pale blue jumper on. And then so that's him done. Oh, he's got a little hat there. Should really have changed. So we've got a little man over here, so he can have a blue, a paler blue. It could be pale blue. Again, that's just that bit too wet. And he's got little blue, and that's going to be really dark blue because it already looks dark blue. Again, that's quite a damp brush. So So our little garden gnomes are done. And the one in the middle can be blue, but he can be pale blue. I'm going to go with a smaller brush. And what happens, your baby wipe gets so wet that you have to wring it out. And that's why it's not drying out this. But I've got a dry one, so I'm just going to put that one on top of it. Because I want to be, it's just getting that, these are very tiny spaces. So I'm going to do with a Prussian blue number 35. And just give him a little bit of colour. So they're all in blue, but they're all different blues. It looks like a thumb. What looks like a thumb? Whereabouts are we now? It looks like a thumb. There's so many different things going on in this book. So where have we got to? Oh, there's some apples here, look. And they're going to be, there's a tomato. That's not a bad tomato colour. But the apples are going to be kind of a really, a madder carmine. Or a crimson, oh no, a crimson lake. But I don't think this is going to work now. So bear with me. I've got some red on here and I want to use it. So that's a bit silly now. Got to find something that's red. You see, when I started this page, I was being very, very pale. So I've now got some red on my paintbrush. I'm going to be very cross with myself now because I can't use this red. They're daffodils, I think. So they're not going to be red. Oh, there's a red pepper there. That looks like a red pepper with hands. So, this probably is going to be a red pepper colour. And it's the wrong size brush. You need a bigger brush. Did I say it was Crimson Lake, that one, didn't I? Yes, I did. So actually that didn't work at all. And it's the wrong red, but I can put another red over the top. And it's a bit too wet, that. Let me have a look at that red. I don't suppose it really matters. That was probably the apple colour that I wanted, actually. But he's done now. Just wants his little hands. And that is going to have to be that tiny one. So I'm just going to finish this off and then I can kind of... There we go. And then I think I'm going to go in with the apple ones as well. So I'll carry on for about 10 minutes and then I would have kind of made quite a good start on this page. So this is recorded for YouTube, and do tend to oopsie talk, so I wanted just a little bit of a highlight on there, and then if I'm very careful I can just kind of, I think this is a metal basket, I'm not quite sure, I just have to have another look, and I think it's a metal basket. So we can, oops, and again this is quite flexible, so I want just a damp brush. So there's a little bit of colour in there. Oh, I found some apples behind there, look, so that one will be very dark. And then this one will be just normal. I'm pretty sure that's a highlight for a shiny metal basket. And I think that means we've got some apples in there that are coloured in now. Maybe just, I think that one's actually, you can see through the basket, so I know that that's not there. And I think I've just caught that one. And so this is going to be quite a oh my goodness me, quite a pale colour, so I'm going to start in the middle and work out, and that's going to give me quite a nice petal, I think. And then the same with this one. We start here and just a hint of colour on those edges. Just to give it some definition and get rid of that kind of white. So there's just enough in there. And the young lady, I think she could have a purple, I think she can have a nice purple dress. So she's got blonde hair, so we'll give her some blonde hair. And then we don't forget, is she going to have, I think she's probably going to have this colour hair. And then she can have a pink bow. There she goes. She's got hairy arms, but she's got hairy arms. So we said she's going to have a lilac-y. It says deep violet, but this is the pale violet. Can't I do sleeves on it? I can't do sleeves on it. I always wanted a swing like this. I remember seeing something when I was little, an image, and I just so wanted a swing like this. And I'm sure I'm going to have to put a little bit of purple something on her. And then we want, I've got quite a vibrant pink actually there, but she's got quite a vibrant pink on. And I can do her little legs, flesh pink, and her arms. And that looks like curly ivy, doesn't it? There's a little bird here. There's another poppy here, and I don't know what colour I did the other one. Let me have a look, see what colour I did it. It looks like pale vermilion, but my favourite red is geranium red, but I don't think I used geranium red. So again, if I start here and tease that colour out, oopsie, I've got quite a natural highlight on there. And again, this one's got to be, tease that colour out here and out here, and by the time it gets back around here, it's got a little natural highlight on it. And again in here, just a bit. And again, got some nice highlights on there. And then we mustn't forget this one. I just need to pick a green. Just trying to think of the poppy green. I think it's that one. Oh dear, excuse me. My tummy says it's lunchtime, so I'm going to just very carefully, and because this is quite a deep it's quite a deep poppy colour, and it's quite a deep grayscale. Most of the work's done. You can just put a bit of colour in there and tease the colour down, and you've just got a really natural green. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Bookmaster. Thank you. Sorry, I was stopped talking because I didn't think anybody was here. I thought everybody popped over to Dee Dee, because Dee Dee's on now, so I'm conscious that I've got to stop in about 5 minutes. I just thought I could just finish this off really quickly. And I obviously don't want to miss any of her show. So I'm rushing to finish. And I'd just like to I'll just finish this little bit, and then that should take me up to the hour. And then that hopefully will be another little one, but it does work. They do work so well. But this is easy because it's a grayscale, this particular flower. So I don't have to do as much work. But it's still just a damp brush, just teasing that colour down. And then there's a chick there. There's a little man with his head in a gramophone. But that's just giving that a really nice highlight. Can't wait to do the Polly. Polly's going to be green, I think. So thanks for watching. This is probably part 4 of the Colin Thompson colouring in, and I'll just pan out and show you what it looks like. You see the full page. And so this is how I'm working. And I have next to me a little top with water in it. I mean, I normally use a little tiny one. And I've got a damp thing here and 3 brushes. And that's, you can work on a little cushion tray, and that's why I love it. I take this to hospital with me. And it's dried now. So there's no buckling at all. And it's quite nice. They look quite vibrant, those now, because I'm quite pleased I've left them that bright. But as I say, there's little tiny butterflies. There's just all sorts going on. And that's with the Derwent watercolour pencils, working from paper palettes. Because you have 10 shades at least in each paper palette. And so technically that's 6,000 colours in here. But again, if you take into account that you can make any colour on the planet here, it's a fab little book. But I love my Colin Thompson watercolouring book. So thank you for watching.